Hi, Kathy Stoltz here on Channel 98.9 FM. On today's Executive Report with Kathy Dahlkemper, we'll be talking about the additional $5 fee Erie County residents will be paying when their registration renewal comes due. Good. Hi, Kathy. How are you today?
Good, Kathy. Good to be with you again.
Yes, you too. To start off with, can you give me the background as far as what prompted County Council to enact the fee?
So actually, back in 2015, the state legislature passed what they call Act 89 legislation. And that was done, I think, in the last year of the Corbett administration, working with the legislators. And it was actually very controversial, but I think really needed. We all know that infrastructure, not only in Pennsylvania, but really throughout this country, has not kept up. The maintenance, has been an issue, and we've got a lot of deficient bridges and a lot of bad roads. Part of Act 89, of course, was the hike in the gas tax, which that money is all going back to the state. But another piece of Act 89 legislation gave counties the ability to add $5 onto the vehicle registration for the residents of their county. And that's enacted with that legislation, and we in Erie County, the county council decided finally to be part of that in December of 2017.
Okay. And in the background, I think there's 19, maybe more than that, counties in Pennsylvania currently enacting that or have enacted that $5 fee, right?
Yeah, I think there are 19 now.
Okay.
And a few did it right away. Many did not. And honestly, we didn't because unlike most other counties in Pennsylvania, we as a county entity, we don't own any roads or bridges. And I think a really important piece of this for the listeners to understand is that this $5 fee is 100% sent back to the county. So none of that money goes to PennDOT, none of it goes to the state general fund. It all comes back for county use. But again, county government, we don't own any bridges or roads. So we didn't enact it in the beginning. But what became apparent is that our municipalities, the 38 different municipalities, Corry City being one, Wayne Township being another, many townships and communities, they often do own bridges and, of course, many roads within the township. And they are struggling to maintain and take care and upgrade their bridges particularly. And we know that it's a struggle for many of our townships. So we decided that it would be beneficial if we pass this, and only the county can pass it. So if we passed it and then we allowed that funding to then be distributed throughout Erie County through what we call the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization. Now, that group's been around for a long time, and that is a group of people from all the different municipalities as well as the county, and they keep a priority list of the projects that need to be done in terms of transportation, and they'll be the governing group that decides how this money is distributed.
In what order as far as priorities?
Well, it depends on what they decide are the priorities at the time. Now, the one reason why we moved to approve this $5 fee at the end of 2017 was PennDOT actually put out an incentive there to try to get counties to do this, because they know that they don't have an unlimited, resource when it comes to helping counties and municipalities fund these bridges, for example. So they said, if you enact this before the end of 2017, over the next 2 years, we'll match that up to $2 million. So we know that this $5 fee is going to bring in approximately $1.2 million annually to Erie County. And now, for the years of 2018 and 2019, PennDOT is going to match that, and we're going to get $2 million extra dollars. So instead of 1.2 plus 1.2, we're going to get $4.4 million in the first 2 years of this. And that money is going to be earmarked for the bridges that are deficient in Erie County right now. And again, not owned by the county, but bridges that are owned by the municipalities throughout our region. And there are quite a few of those. And so we want to get those bridges fixed so that when you're driving down your road, you don't have your road closed down because a bridge has to be fixed and the community doesn't have the money to pay for it. So we're trying to be proactive here and really use this money locally to give people the access that they want and to keep our bridges safe. And that's really what this is all about. $5 a year for people to pay to keep our roads and bridges safe for travel.
And as I understand it, those funds will be distributed semi-annually, like June and December. Is that correct?
Well, we're working on the actual details of how this program rolls out because, of course, we haven't received a dime yet. The first people paying the $5 fee are here in April. If you have to register your car in April, you're the first ones to see this $5 fee. So once we get the money, but like I said, we're working on this and working with the Metropolitan Planning Organization because we're not going to have any money for a few months here before we ever, have any to distribute. So we're still working on the exact details of the plan. But we do know that of the 116 locally owned bridges, not owned by PennDOT, but owned by our municipalities, we know that 36% of them are declared structurally deficient by PennDOT inspectors, and we already have 5 of them closed. 2 are within the city of Erie, 1 is in Girard, 1 in Fort LaBeouf, and 1 in Waterford Township. And then we know we have another 22 across the county who have weight limits. So we had to drop the weight limit on those. So that means certain vehicles can't go down, those roads and over those bridges. Right. So that's quite a few bridges right there that need to be fixed initially, and they will be the priority with the first monies that come out.
From my research, I understand that there's the 43 bridges. Is that what the total was? 43?
I believe 43.
Okay.
Yeah.
That there is a percentage of those that the bridges have. From what I understand anyway, the bridges have like a 50-year lifespan, and some of those bridges are at their 43-year mark. So they have another, 7 years technically that they have to work on them. But, as you stated, if they're deficient now,
yes,
it's not.
So we have to drop the weight limit on them. Right. And so that means maybe a delivery truck can't come down that road or whatever. And as we all know with anything that we have, whether it be our vehicle or our home or anything, if you can do maintenance on that, do your painting of your home when you need to, you're not going to have as many issues with it, right? You get your car, you get your, maintenance done, you get your oil changed and things like that. With these bridges, they often don't have the money to do the preventative maintenance on them. So what this is going to allow is for the municipalities to apply for this money if they have bridges that are deficient, obviously to fix them. There's a few bridges that have to be replaced. Those obviously have to be done. But now they're going to be able to come in and do the preventative maintenance on it. So a bridge that could be 50 years now can last 60 or maybe even longer. So, we're going to hopefully extend the life of many of our bridges in our region and make them safe for a very long time and obviously save money in the long run.
I understand that there's only a certain percentage of this money that's going to be distributed that will be allowed for use of administrative costs. How much of that money do you believe is going to be used or will be used, need to be used for administrative costs for the county?
It's going to be a very, very small amount. It's going to be less than 5%, and basically what it's going to be used for is to pay for the person who's going to oversee this whole project and do the work of following up and making sure the projects are done and all of that. So this is very typical that when we have these type of projects. These type of programs, that we take a little bit of an administrative fee because that's how we pay for the staffing that we need to do this. So,
that person that you're going to be using for this, they will be keeping in touch with, I believe there's a state representative that's kind of assigned to that county
yes.
for the monies.
Right. Exactly.
They'll be
that go between the state and the county, and then of course between the county and what we call the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, who is the group that will be making the decisions. So it won't be the county executive, it won't be my employees, it won't be county council. It will be this larger group that represents the city of Corry, the city of Erie, the municipalities through the borough association, through the township association, and then the county does have some representation on there also. So that's who makes these decisions. So that's what we really like about it too, is it's really a very global look at this money as it goes out.
Mm-hmm. Now, after that 2 years is up and PennDOT is no longer offering that $2 million incentive, what does the county plan on doing with the $5 fee at that time? I know that some counties have done the 2 years and then let that fee run out and quit collecting it. What does Erie County plan at this time to do at the end of those 2 years?
Well, we plan to still collect it, and the reason being is we know that there are so many really great things going on in our county, and there's a lot of needs when it comes to transportation. And, that's where that Metropolitan Planning Organization comes into effect. If you look at their list of projects, it's very long, and they do not have the money to fulfill, all the projects people want done. But if there's a big project in the Corry area that's transportation related, this money could be used as a match. So it's going to allow us to actually go after other funding, whether it be some kind of federal funding or even state funding, because these monies are not state dollars, they're local dollars, and that's the beauty of them. So you can use that money for match on state and federal funding, as well as obviously philanthropic giving.
Right. Okay, so if people want to know what vehicles, because I know that from what you and I talked about and what I saw, some vehicles are exempt from that. Where do people find out if their vehicle is an exempt vehicle or not?
They should go on to the PennDOT website, and that's your best source of information, dot.state.pa.us. And then you can find out all the details. Now, some people will do their car registration for 2 years rather than one, and you have that option. And if you do that, you only pay the $5 fee for once. So instead of paying $10 over 2 years, you're only paying $5 over 2 years for that registration. So it's per registration. So because that did come up recently, where somebody was applying, was filling theirs out, and they were going to do the 2 years, but they only paid the $5 fee once. And so, we say it's going to bring in $1.2 million, maybe a little less, maybe, we don't know the exact amount. Of course, it depends on how many cars are on the road. But there is a retired person's discount, and so there's definitely ability for people who have maybe some more limited resources because of being in retirement or potentially having some kind of disability.
How about the vehicles such as like camper trailers are also included in those vehicles that do have to pay anything that has to be registered if it's not an exempt vehicle, like travel trailers and such. Even the ones in campgrounds that have been registered, they will have to be paying too. Is that right?
I believe so, Kathy, but that's like further down in the weeds than I know the complete answer to, and that's why I would suggest to get some of those further details, you can look on the website. But, of course, when you get that registration form in the mail, it's going to have the $5 fee on there if you have to pay it. And if you don't have to pay it, it won't have it on there. PennDOT's taking care of all of that piece of it. They are doing the registration piece for us, and they're collecting the money, so we don't have to do that. And then they're just going to send us, lump sums back to the county. But it is 100% coming back to the county, and I think that's really important.
And then that money has to be put in a totally separate account, cannot be mingled with county funds. Is that right?
That's right. And we're very used to doing that. We do that with some of our other programs too. So, but yeah, will not be used for the county general fund or anything like that. It will be 100% used for projects that are transportation related. But for the first few years, it's almost all going to go to bridges, because we feel that is the most important thing for us to do, is to fix the current bridges that are bad and to allow our townships to maintain the bridges they have so that they are safe. And if we didn't do this, and one of the reasons why PennDOT was incentivizing us to do this, then all of those municipalities have to try to find that money some other way, and they're going to go to the state and see if they can get more money, or they're going to raise your local taxes to do that, because they've got to get the revenue someplace. So this will help remedy that and give the local municipalities that financial support they need, rather than having to raise property taxes for that work or to try to get more money out of the state, which of course the state has limited resources also.
Correct. Okay, so you're listening to the Executive Report with Kathy Dahl-Kemper here on Channel 98.9 FM. Just to get back for a minute here, Kathy, if different residents in the city want to find out who their representative is on that committee that we were talking about, the MPO committee, where would they go? Would they call their local city building? Where's the best
Now, if you go
place?
on the county website,
Mm-hmm.
and we look under the Department of Planning, and the MPO is on there. And as I'm on the phone with you here, I am trying to look this up real quick. Mm-hmm. But that's where you would find the list of people who are on the MPO. And so we are actually in the middle of changing our website. It'll be done probably in a couple more months, but it'll be much easier to navigate than it is right now, because I will say that I think it's a little bit more difficult than it should be to navigate. And
it's a little confusing at times when you get on there. It's almost like too many choices to go here and there. And
exactly, yeah. So, but getting to the county planning department is the place to get to, and then the MPO is listed there under them. And if you can't find it, you can always call the planning department directly, or just email to the planning department and talk to them there. But Christopher Friday is our county planner, transportation planner,
mm-hmm.
and so he's a good person to talk to about that. And
okay. And then, do you happen to know who the county's municipal services representative is?
Who the county's municipal representative is?
Mm-hmm. Through the state. I mean, there would be a municipal services representative from the state.
Oh, down in Harrisburg?
Yes.
I do not know who that is.
No.
But I can find that out for you, Kathy, and send you an email, and then maybe you can just tell your listeners.
Yeah, we can just put a little thing on about that so that they'll know. All right. Anything else we need to inform people about this $5 fee that you can think of?
I'm trying to think. There's, I think it's, I know no one likes to pay anything more, but I think the beauty of this is that it is completely locally controlled. It is 100% staying in the county, and that it really is going out to the municipalities. Again, this isn't really helping the county's budget in any way. It's really helping your municipality, your local municipality's budget, and that's really important.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kathy, for joining us again today with the Executive Report. You've been listening to Kathy Stoltz and Kathy Dahl-Kemper on Channel 98.9 FM.